Hi there. I want to talk about bullying and harassment. First, some definitions. Bullying is defined as an intentional act that causes harm to others. This can include verbal or non-verbal threats, taunts, physical attacks, blackmail, manipulation, or even extortion. An imbalance of power usually exists between the bully and the victim. Harassment is defined as conduct which annoys, threatens, intimidates, or causes fear in another person. It is unwanted behavior that offends, demeans, or threatens another person. The behavior causes a hostile environment. It can include derogatory comments, slurs, improper propositions, assault, physically impeding or blocking behavior, as well as visual insults. Obviously, both are bad for society. How should a victim respond? First, let the bully know that it's unwanted. A lot of the time, what is perceived as bullying and harassment is actually just said in jest. This can avoid a lot of awkward situations. If the bully continues his or her "that's right, women can be bullies too" behavior, the victim should go to the police. If it happens in the workplace, go to HR first, and then go to the police. If the victim goes to HR without going to the police, then it doesn't have any weight. This shows a more vindictive streak rather than how a victim would normally react. What about sexual harassment? It's defined as any form of unwanted verbal, non-verbal, or physical conduct of a sexual nature, which has the purpose or effect of violating a person's dignity and creating an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating or offensive environment for the person. Many forms of behavior can constitute sexual harassment. It includes examples like those contained in the following list, although it must be emphasized that the list is illustrative rather than exhaustive. A single incident may constitute sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is defined in Section 14(a)(7) of the Employment Equality Act as any form of unwanted verbal, non-verbal, or physical conduct of a sexual nature, which has the purpose or effect of violating a person's dignity and creating an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating or offensive environment for the person. Many forms of behavior can constitute sexual harassment. It includes examples like those contained in the following list, although it must be emphasized that the list is illustrative rather than exhaustive. A single incident may constitute sexual harassment. What is physical conduct of a sexual nature? This may include unwanted physical contact, such as unnecessary touching, patting or pinching, or brushing against another employee's body, assault and coercive sexual intercourse. For example, smacking someone's backside is a type of sexual harassment. Being thrown into them in the course of traveling isn't, because gravity is a thing. Of course, an apology should be given, but only one apology is necessary. There is no need to apologize each time it happens, unless the person taking offense is mentally insufficient. What is verbal conduct of a sexual nature? This includes unwelcome sexual advances, propositions or pressure for sexual activity, continued suggestions for social activity outside the workplace after it has been made clear that such suggestions are unwelcome, unwanted or offensive flirtations, suggestive remarks, innuendos or lewd comments. Don't tell the lady she's pretty. Don't tell the gentleman he looks good. People should be treated like robots. What is nonverbal conduct of a sexual nature? This may include the display of pornographic or sexually suggestive pictures, objects, written materials, emails, text messages, or faxes. It may also include leering, whistling or making sexually suggestive gestures. What about gender-based conduct? This includes conduct that denigrates or ridicules or is intimidatory or physically abusive of an employee because of his or her sex, such as derogatory or degrading abuse or insults which are gender-related. This doesn't include, for example, if a discussion about gender studies is disagreeable. This is not a gendered issue because both men and women study this. What about racism? Racism is defined as racist bullying can be identified by the motivation of the bully, the language used, and/or by the fact that victims are singled out because of the color of their skin, the way they talk, their ethnic grouping, or by their religious or cultural practices. Although I take issue with the religious part as that can apply to any race. Religious discrimination is actually called sectarianism, which we'll get onto later. Someone cannot be considered racist if they disagree with a particular person who is from a different race. They can be considered racist if they disagree because they are a different race. It all depends on context. For example, it is said that Asians don't like to be called Oriental because they have never called themselves Oriental. Instead, call them by whatever race they call themselves. Oriental means from the east, but this is all relative to where you are. So for Japanese people, Hawaii is Oriental, as is Alaska. Instead of calling them Oriental, call them Asian. If you know what country they are from, it is okay to call them Japanese, Chinese, Laotian, or whatever country they are from. If the person is a Westerner, also offensive by the way, call them American, not Asian American, African American, whatever. They are American if they are from America. If they are from Europe, they are either Irish, English, Scottish, Welsh, Cornish or Manx. If they are from the British Isles, German, French, Austrian, Swedish, Swiss, Luxembourger, Italian, Spanish, Polish, Romanian, Dutch, Belgian, Greek, Czech, Portuguese, Hungarian, Norwegian, Slovakian, Finnish, Hollandaise, Croatian, Lithuanian, Maltese, Cypriot, Slovenian, Latvian, Estonian. These are the majority of Europeans. I may have left some out, but I have floated far and wide and I cannot remember everywhere I have been. What about sectarianism? There are 12 classical world religions, those religions most often included in history of world religion surveys and studied in world religions classes: Baha'i, Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism, Hinduism, Islam, Jainism, Judaism, Shinto, Sikhism, Taoism, and Zoroastrianism. There are a number of Christian religions out there, so if your church professes to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, then you identify as a Christian. Whether you actually follow the teachings of Christ is another matter altogether. Of these, Christianity, Judaism and Islam are examples of Abrahamic religions as they all came from the Hebrew patriarch, Abraham. It is wrong to vilify someone because of their faith. Everyone deserves dignity. So, now that you have something to think about, be nicer to each other.